Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Plum Wild Podcast. It is October 16th. I am Nathan Waddell, and as always, I'm joined in the booth by my best friend, Damian Kiefer.
Good morning, chat.
It's been almost a month and a half since our last episode of the Plum Wild Podcast, so it's been a while. We've got a lot to catch up on. Probably still going to be a bit of a shorter episode tonight, but first, as always, how are you doing today, Keith?
Not doing too bad. Made it through the workday. Somehow, traffic was terrible this morning, man. I don't know about you, but it was all backed up for me in St. Louis.
It wasn't bad down here in Alabama. How's the blind business going? How is it like being a blind man right now?
It's not bad. We're still pretty steady. Not the busiest season right now, but still pretty steady as we're going. Actually driving 3 hours for a job tomorrow. I got 3 14-foot, 10-foot tall shades going in. And they're all like motorized and stuff out on the outside. They're gonna be pretty sweet.
You keep the roads high. You do a lot of traveling with that job, don't you?
I do. I try to only do it like an hour and a half radius of
Yep.
like from where I live, but I still wherever the phone rings, whoever
Yeah.
pays me, if they got money flowing, I'm
It's
there.
hard to turn down business,
Yeah, and I know.
especially as like I've seen, the people that I know that run businesses, like they always seem to be so backed up because it's so hard to say no because you never know when people are going to stop
And
coming to
when
you.
you might, or just when you might need it.
Right, that too.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
understand. So 3 hour drive tomorrow, and you had bad traffic today, but we made time for a podcast. It's been a while. There hasn't been really anything to talk about. But we finally enough time has went by that we finally have some
Well,
things to talk
we have some
about.
content
We got some
finally to talk
content.
about. Dude,
Exactly.
no one's been fighting each other in Iris and Dirt Talk.
Where's
I
all the
posted
drama?
I posted yesterday like when's it gonna start happening again? Like
Right.
I need something.
Well,
Um
I think there is going to be something that'll start causing some drama soon. The first big thing that we're going to talk about, of course, is the new Pro Series announcement. It was announced, I want to say, maybe last Monday. And we were going to try to do an episode last Wednesday, but unfortunately, just it didn't really line up. Couldn't really get it going,
no,
and
neither of us had like coordinating schedules
yeah,
and
and you were getting ready for your big mod race, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I knew that with that announcement, I was like, all right, podcast soon, and that's what I told you. And I was like, we got to talk about this soon. So we're here. We got a Pro Series announcement. We heard, I would say probably sometime in the summer, that there was things were going to be shaking up for the Pro Series, and there was all sorts of rumors. Nothing really seemed definitive. I'm sure the pros I, would. I would assume that the pros probably knew what was going on, but they just couldn't say or uh, whatever it was. We were all speculating. Okay, they said it's going to be sprint cars and late models. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean that they're running in the same night, or does that mean you can only run one series, you can't run both, or does that mean that they're running them together? And we got the confirmation last Monday that they are in fact running alternate each week. You run sprint cars, you run late models. And also on top of that, the format itself has changed completely. Instead of 6 weeks of qualifiers, top 20 in points make it, then you go into the 10-week Pro Series itself. You have qualifiers Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The top 35 in points. Nobody's locked in already. Let's go ahead and get that out there as well. Nobody's locked in. There's no former pros that are already in each race. It's fresh now and fresh each week. Top 35 from the qualifiers from Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday make the Monday night show. And the Monday night show, it's probably going to be like all the other ones, 4 heats, top 4 from each heat, the regular run of the mill thing, but then it alternates. The next week will be the opposite car, 410 sprint car or late model. And then over the course of those 10 weeks, The points accumulate for the Pro Series races themselves. No word on whether or not there's going to be a payout. We'll get to that in a second. But the top 20 in points after the season ends will then get the Pro Series license, just basically for bragging rights. So let's dig in a little bit and talk first about the format, not about, well, let's talk about the fact that they're going sprints and late models back and
Yeah.
forth. Let's start with the negative, because in my opinion, it's a negative. I don't like it. What do you think?
Yeah, no. I think it's a negative and a positive. Negative and a positive.
You gonna
Because you're
elaborate?
gonna
I mean, this is a podcast. We're
because
supposed to talk.
because you're gonna start to see guys that are late model guys have to adventure and branch out, and you're gonna see sprint car guys have to adventure and branch out coming up to the Pro Series. And I think it's gonna make the racing and the racecraft of iRacing completely change.
You think?
Yes.
And why is that?
Just because for the few races I haven't raced a lot of sprint cars, but I'm just watching how the sprint cars race and the racecraft of them at the Pro Series level and the racecraft of a late model is like completely different.
Yeah.
And so whenever they're going to be mixed and matching, it's going to be interesting.
I'll
Just like, you know what I'm saying? Because you're going
yeah.
to have to, 1 week, you're going to have to completely change your mindset and do something that you
Yeah.
normally don't do
And
every other
you're gonna
week.
get people adapting to both ways, and one might spill over into another,
Sure.
hopefully positively. Um, I will say,
I
I
just had
think
a sprint car guy talking smack to me the other day.
really
Yeah. I was like, he's like, you late model guys are going to struggle. I was like, what? That's all right, though.
he's probably not too far
That's
off.
all right.
Honestly, I'm gonna struggle. I see it as a negative and a positive as well. I guess the only real positive I see out of it is that, yes, technically the best driver will win the
Overall,
championship.
yeah. Yeah, the
Sure.
overall guy.
But there's only a handful of people that can realistically compete at the very, very top level in both a sprint car and a late model. And those people, no offense, those are the people that have the most time on their hands or have put in the most time in both. I
Yeah.
work a 40-hour a week job. You work 40 plus hours a week. You have all sorts of other things going on. So do I. I barely have enough time to be able to keep up in a late model. It's going to be a
Yeah.
struggle to be able to keep up in a sprint car. Sure, it'll be the best driver, but like, come on. The
It's going to shake up
negatives.
points a lot, though.
Oh
And
yeah,
like, just
yeah,
that's why like I bring up like just how people are racing, because you're going to be like in the sprint car, not necessarily saying it, but like desperate for every position.
yes.
Like 11th is yes, or like you
Well,
know what I mean. You know what I mean? Like
you're going to be desperate either way,
yeah,
because in a late model
but you're going to be like
you got to make the most of your late model weeks. Me and
yeah,
you, right? We got to
but
make the
like
most of our late model weeks, because we know those are
you're gonna
supposed to
have
be
to
our good
race
weeks.
so smart
Yeah,
throughout this. Like it's gonna take somebody who really can strategize it. It's gonna take somebody who can have. You're gonna have to have luck on all aspects.
yeah,
Like you're gonna have to be consistent, and that's gonna be, I think, extremely hard to do for some people,
yeah.
and a lot of people, honestly. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how like the points shake out and everything shakes out on that, and see like the numbers from week 1 to like week 10
Yeah,
to see how many people are joining and stuff like that. But week by week, you're gonna see some pretty cool and interesting stuff, I think.
I think so, but it's I don't like it because I don't like the fact that I have to run a sprint car. Like
Yeah,
I just don't. I don't really enjoy sprint cars. No hate to my sprint car friends, my sprint car fans that are watching. Like I don't really enjoy sprint cars, and maybe this will give me a new perspective on them. Maybe I'll enjoy them after this. I don't know, but it's gonna be so crazy. I don't really like it. Let's move on though, to the format itself,
yeah.
where you basically have to requalify every week. I think across the board, I've seen this very positively received. I've seen a lot of good feedback about this.
And I agree about the good feedback. I think it is good because it's like even like if you look at like some of the big races that happened over the years or just still happen over the years, where there's 100 something cars show up, you got to find and like out of the 100 cars that are there, you got to find the best, and that's and like different tracks are going to bring different drivers or
Yeah,
somebody who's better at other places.
yeah,
Um, like not everybody's going to race every week on that either
yeah.
because of that.
It's gonna
But
be
the
interesting.
format, but I like it. Like
I
it
like
is
it a
good
lot.
because you're gonna have guys who can't consistently just keep getting points, and like the top 35 number is gonna be like great. It's gonna be very difficult to
I got a
get every
question.
week.
I got a question for you.
It's gonna be fun. I think. Like I
When
think it gives me some excitement about it.
I do,
Honestly,
I'm excited about it too. Do you think? And there's a couple of things that I want to mention here. Do you think that this format will be easier to make all 10 races, just the event, than it is to have a good 5 out of 6 weeks like the old system? Like
oh,
10
this way's
weeks.
way harder. Way harder.
Yeah. Just
Way
purely
harder.
just purely because of the fact that it's 10 times that you have to try to
Off
qualify for the
off
race
the
itself.
so you say they take 35 drivers every week,
But
correct?
you also, well, before that though, you also have to take into consideration you have 3 chances at the qualifier because you have
Yeah,
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But go on.
yeah. So 35 drivers make it, correct?
Yeah.
So at the end of Pro Series, only 35 drivers have points. This Pro
Well, no,
Series,
not
you're gonna
technically, or unless you're talking about in the old format.
just the old format.
Yeah, you're right. Only
There's only
35 drivers have
there's
points.
only 35 out of 35 drivers have points.
Yeah,
This format, you're gonna have 30. That 35 number is gonna turn into probably honestly 90 or 100
it could.
different
Yeah,
pro
those
drivers.
fringe guys that some weeks make it, some weeks don't. Some of those guys that are good in sprint cars
I
only
could
run the
see that.
sprints. Yeah, it's going to be interesting down there in the 35 to 50 range of
It's what
like who
the
has.
11 to 35 is going to be just a battle every
Yeah,
week,
I
just
agree.
consistently.
Yeah,
And I think that's what like makes it kind of exciting because like you're gonna have like not necessarily saying this, but you could finish top five in points only and make 7 races.
you could. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I mean, if you
It's
not ace, but like ran really really well in 7 races, because you know how hard it's going to be for like to really realistically run really really well in 10 races in a row and
I mean,
like two
that's
different cars
Evan
every other week.
C, Logan Rums. We'll get into that in a minute too,
Yeah, I
by the way,
know.
about predictions. But yeah, it's gonna be nuts. I like the format. It's it's less of um, it's less of like a hassle, a stress, a you just so worried about, like, for me I just wanted to make it and I had 6 weeks where I had to get it done. This way I have each week's a new week. Like if I don't make it week
Yeah,
one,
and you
like
have
I
three shots every week.
exactly that too. You got 3 races, and I would assume that the Tuesday night's going to be like your opener kind of deal.
Yeah,
Everyone's going to be in the first one. It's going to teeter off for the second and third. But either way, I like the format a lot, honestly, and I've seen a lot of good positive reaction. I think the only real downside is that we're not getting a late model only, sprint car only. Um, I do want to say though, I don't want it to be lost on anyone that I do appreciate the fact that iRacing is at least giving us something, right?
yeah,
And
fair.
we talked about money a little bit ago. Like there hasn't really been an official word whether or not on what the purse is, if it's reduced, whatever. I'm sure that the people that really truly stand a chance to win this points deal probably would like for it to be for some money. But I can speak for almost everyone in previous pro series is that we're not doing it for the money. Like we want to compete at the highest level, and we do appreciate that iRacing is giving us something here. It just kind of sucks that it's not, what it has been before with sprint cars, their own series, late models, their own series. But Yeah. So, what do you expect? I want to before we go into the predictions of who we think is going to win, because that's what I want to close up with on this topic is who we
Yeah.
think is going to win. But before we do that, how do you? I want to go over how we expect to do in it. So, how do you think you're going to do in this year's Pro Series?
Depending on when the Pro Series is scheduled, which is fair.
Yeah, well, that's another big point too. We don't
Like
know when it
that's
actually starts. Probably should be
that's
sometime in November.
yeah. If it does, if it's something that I'm to the winter season, that would be great for me. And say it is, um, my goal would be top 15
In
in points
points,
overall. Overall, that would be like my top.
you got that much
That would
confidence in a sprint car, Keith? You got that much
at
confidence in a sprint car?
at like 6 out of the 13 tracks. Yes, I've been making laps.
But we don't know the schedule yet either. That's one
I
big thing
know,
is we
and
don't know
that's
the
like,
schedule.
and I'll just be honest about it. It's the big tracks. I feel really competitive
Yeah,
at like Charlotte, Eldora, Knoxville, and
yeah,
like all this bigger tracks.
same.
And I feel like Lucas Oil. I feel really good at too. And laps that I've made. But just
Mhm.
like some stuff like that, that would be. But like you gotta look at this. Like I plan to be as smooth and as consistent as I can be, and just focus on making the race,
Yeah. Well, I
making the
mean,
race, making the race, making the race, and
JB
that's
Brown
gonna
has told us time and time again that if you can just make all 10 races in Pro Series, that you're going to finish top 15. But it's
right.
going to be tough
Eh,
whenever you're doing it in
But
sprint
now you're
cars.
doing it with two different classes.
Right.
If you can just make the race, you're gonna really boost yourself
Right.
because
But
you
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 got to
know
be
you.
there.
At the end of the day, some sprint car guys aren't going to make the late model feature, and some late model guys aren't going to make the sprint car feature.
Right.
And there's going to be vice versa. You're going to have sprint car guys miss the sprint car feature, and late model guys miss late model feature some days too. Like it's just
Yeah.
it's really good. So like if
Because
you
like
can
that's
just
the thing, you make the event, sure, but then you
yeah
still have to make the race in the event.
yeah
So you could, have this
top
incredible run.
can I change top 20
Top
is
20,
that
okay.
better
All right. Top 20
top 20
prediction for you. Okay.
that would be I feel like that would be a really good solid pro series run out of me.
I think so. Yeah. So top 20, you think you're
What
going to
about
get the
you?
license. So I think
I gotta get my license back. I've been itching to. I hate the blue. I
the
hate the
blue
blue.
looks so ugly. I hate. Trust me, you're not
I was like
you're preaching to the choir here, buddy.
4 points short, bro.
I know. I know. I think I think I have a decent shot at top 30 in points in the overall points, but it's so unknown, like there could be a week or two that like I don't even make the show in late models, you know what I mean? Like in the main event. I fully expect to make every single late model Pro Series race. Now, making that late model Pro Series feature is going to be different, but
Yes.
I expect to be in all the late model races. And then in the sprint cars, I wouldn't be surprised if I only make a couple of those. It's so unknown to me. Like I've made laps and I feel good in them, but like it's just different at that level. You know what I mean? Like um, they these guys that run sprints just have so much more experience. I feel fast in them, and it just depends on what the tracks are. I think just because of the fact that I don't have that much confidence in the sprint car side of things. I feel really confident in the late model side of things. I think that's where it's going to carry me to at least like top 30, 35.
Yeah.
I would be happy
I'm
with top
counting on my
20, of
late model
course,
side
but
as well.
yeah, we're all banking. All of the late model guys are banking on
I'm
the
banking
late
on the
model
late
side.
model stuff. Like,
I mean,
if
I've
I
sh-
can run top 10 every night, I'll be tickled. Like that
yeah.
would be in the if I make like say necessarily make the race, so you can just make and run top 10, top 10,
Well,
top 10, top 10
here's
in
the
those
thing.
5 races. So,
This will tell you something. The past 2 years in Pro Series, 2022, 2023, I made in those Pro Series seasons, I made 5 out of the 10 races both years. I only made half the races. First year, I finished like 22nd in points. Second year, I finished 20th in points. So making and having good runs in half the features will get you about top 20. So
Yeah.
you add in the fact that there's going to be probably more drivers in the actual points rundown. It's gonna blow things wide open, and I don't expect to do incredibly well. I would love to surprise myself. I'll definitely start putting the time in once the schedule is announced, but not really expecting too much out of myself. I'd say top 30 in points. You say top 20. All right. So let's move on to who do you think is going to win the Pro Series championship?
Ramsey.
Rumsey. Do you think it's even close?
Yes. I think he's got a few really good competitors behind him
Yeah.
on it. Like he's got I'm gonna say the top 10 in points is gonna be close.
You think?
That's yes.
Who who
Because it
who would you
because you because at the end of the
give
day,
me your top
every
three?
top three.
Yeah. Give me your top three in points. Your prediction, top three in points at the end of the season.
This is gonna be bold.
Oh boy.
Logan Ramsey, Evan C, Joey Lingren.
That's crazy that you say that because that was gonna be very, very similar to mine. It was literally gonna be Rumsey, Lindgren, and Evan. I just can't pick the order. I think Lindgren and Evan are a toss up, but I think Rumsey is just
And then you have
too
like
good in
JD,
both.
James
J-
Edens if he could step it up. Like
JD and
the
Edens are going
AI
to be really
guys,
good. Yeah, yeah,
those guys are gonna be good.
yeah.
Chase
Kendall,
Barbara, he could be a wheel
I don't know
in a
if
sprint.
I don't know what Chase
I
does
don't
in
know if he
sprints.
wins,
That's
but
another
like he
funny
could be a
crazy
wheel.
part about this whole thing is like we don't know like half
Yeah.
the time we don't know if these guys that we race with all the time in late models we don't know if they're wheels in sprint cars.
Yeah.
We don't know. It's
Yeah.
crazy. And then
I
also
know
you
what it
have to
takes.
take into effect like we're going to be racing with people that we don't normally see in the pro series because it's
And you're
it's
not gonna
every
know how
week.
like yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like the racecraft's gonna be so crazy because you're gonna
Like
race the people you have no idea how they race,
right, think
and
about it
they
like
race
this.
it, and they're used to racing a totally different race, and they race different.
Yeah. Well, think about this like those people that had like one hit wonders in the pro qualifiers that couldn't do it for all 6 weeks or 5 out of the 6 weeks that never made a pro series, they're going to have their chance to run in a pro series race. They're going to have that one hit wonder and make a pro series race. And, it's going to
Toss the
be,
whole points thing under the jamble.
yeah,
You have
yeah.
a non-point guy in there racing with you, and
Oh,
it's gonna be like,
shit.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
The
got.
guy only makes week 10 pro series, and he start pole.
Yeah, he fucking
You know what
lays
I
down a
mean?
burner. I wonder what. So, what do you think? What? Oh, it's going to be so interesting to see.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Like,
I could
what?
just like
What do you
somebody could
think
just
they
skip all
do?
9 weeks and just race 10 weeks and
What do
just
you think they
wax them.
do for the finale? Okay, last question about this before we move on to our next topic. What do you think they do for the finale race? Do you think it's sprint cars or do you think it's late models? How do you end the season?
Late
Because
models.
both of them have
You
had some
gotta go
banger
late
finishes.
models.
You
You
think
gotta
they
go late
finish?
models.
You think
You
they
gotta
finish with
start
late
off
models?
fast. Start off fast with sprint cars, and you ended it with late models.
It's going to be at Charlotte. We already know that. So, like,
Yeah.
which one races better? Sprint cars at Charlotte or late models at Charlotte?
I'd rather use my sprint car at Charlotte though.
Right? Right? I mean, I'll race in the sprint car against the late models at Charlotte. Let me
Yeah,
do it.
Bergeron. Bergeron's gonna be
Bergeron
good.
would be a tough one too. Bergeron's always been really, really good in late models. He hasn't had the time, I don't think,
I've been
to
beating
really
him up in
focus
a
on him.
host of races
Oh yeah, we
lately.
got,
I have been. I'll
yeah,
be
yeah,
honest.
yeah. So let's go into
Sorry,
that.
Alex.
Let's go into
I
that. We
also
practiced
banned
for
him.
yeah, yeah. So we were
Against him the
practicing
other
a little
day.
bit for the opener. I was
He
gonna run
kept
it,
spinning
ended up
out,
not
dude.
doing it. So you ran the opener. Uh, you first time you've ran an opener
An
in
opener in like a
forever.
year. I haven't ran opener in a long time.
We're
Ran
referring to
opener
the open
Monday.
setup super late models at
Supers.
Eldor. The first race of the week is usually the biggest SOF. Kiefer for the first time. Uh,
Ran
ran one.
ran well.
Ran very
Wha-
well.
Uh So I went out. I was the first person to qualify,
Yep.
and I guess no one look at what I did.
I think I watched everyone else and they tried to do what you did, but
Is that what I hit 1 and 2? You
you
wouldn't
nailed
hit
that shit.
you wouldn't hit it better. End of story.
I
You
was
did not.
watching on
I'd never cracked it, and it just went and turned in there.
I was
Oh,
watching on MDI TV on TikTok. Shout out to James over there, and I was watching there, and I saw Kiefer go out first, and I was like, "Oh shit, here we go, here we go." And you lay down a lap. I was like, "That, I guess that's a good lap." I don't know, nobody fucking went. And then like two
it
minutes
was like a
later,
minute. It was a
yeah,
minute and a half
it was
till like
so
someone laid
long.
down another lap. I was like, all right, everybody's studying my lap, all right? And then like, cause I was in Discord with the NLRA guys, and
Yep.
Steven's like, why are you making a lap? And I was like, dude, I'm gonna make my lap.
Yeah.
I'm either gonna hit it or I'm
Sometimes
not. I
like
know what the line is, and
yeah.
that's how I was confident in the line. I knew what I had to do,
Yep.
and if I knew I could just hit the line, that was it. Like, but
And how did the
I
rest of the
hit,
race go?
won the heat,
Yep.
and I led about 30, 34 laps in a feature, and I hit the wall twice in a row. I hit it in 1 and 2, then I hit it in 3 and 4, and then I hit it again in 1 and 2, and then Rumsey caught me, and then Rumsey slid me, and then me and Evan were racing pretty hard, and I caught it again on like lap 46 or something.
Just kept running
And
out of talent, man.
yeah,
I
I did kind of
I,
I was using them early.
I commented on that on the MDI stream on TikTok whenever the race ended. I said, "Kiefer disappointing as always."
Hey, we did finish third though.
You got a solid top three.
Like in third behind Rumsey and Evan, like at
That's
Eldora too is like I'll
that
take it because
is
that was a 7100 strength of field.
yep. Yep. Big SOF there.
Guys,
So
shout out first Matt Watts for giving me the dig and the feature. He hooked me up pretty
yeah,
well. I just bolted it in.
that wasn't
I was
DQ
gonna
speed.
no, not the feature. It was like the first feature I haven't ran. This is God's honest truth. I haven't ran a DQ set in like, well, not running a DQ set
Right.
because, like, I'll be honest, I got setups that I have, but I can't run what stock is usually. I have to adjust it, and it's not necessarily DQ set, but like, because my qualifying sets, mat set, but I just adjusted the shocks and some other things on it, but
I want to
I just
ask
can't drive standard, and I gotta adjust it, man.
the last set that you ran that wasn't your own or something that you had modified. I want to say that was a Richard Murtaugh set, wasn't it?
No,
Okay,
no,
you sure?
that habit modified.
I'm
No,
just
I had some.
you ran some
Hey,
rocket racing setups back in the day.
hey,
I've heard the
hey.
stories.
That was
Oh,
rough.
bro.
I beat Murtaugh on standard on Rocket Racing at
Anyway,
Lanier,
wait.
and I tried to join his team. I had stock Rocket Racing setups when I first started, and I beat Richard and Dylan Yeager at Lanier, and I asked Richard to be on his team, and he said no, and so I went to pay to win with Zach.
Yep. And
I was
look at
sad.
you now.
I
Look at
know.
you now. All right. So,
Good Lord was
anyways,
watching over me. Sorry, I had to say that.
so the next big thing that we wanted to talk about, or that I wanted to talk about, um, everyone probably saw that I did the Hunt the Front Super Dirt Series pit reporting for them at Talladega Short Track for the Red Farmer Tribute race weekend, the NASCAR race weekend. They were at the Talladega Super Speedway. Um, was super stoked to do that. I had went to Sonoya to do it because long story, everybody probably knows this, but they had put the application out there. I applied. They invited me out to Sonoya. Well, whenever I got to Sonoya, there was rain coming, so the event got shortened heavily. I didn't get to do anything, so they invited me out to do it at Talladega Short Track, and they said we're just going to throw you in. And I'll be honest, I was a little nervous. I was a little nervous, but I was
A
very
little.
excited. I was very excited. It was really quite the experience, to be honest. Like it's they told me I was going to be doing pit reporting, quick time interview, and then top three Friday night, and then pit reporting, heat shirt, oh heat race winner interviews, and then feature top three Saturday night, and um, it was it was a little nerve wracking that first one, like
Yeah, the
uh,
first one's always like that, like just to get everything in like
yeah,
routine. Like, okay,
yeah,
this is how this
exactly.
works, or I did. Yeah,
Exactly. I mean, I had a headset on, which I'm pretty used to that, but I'm holding a microphone. I can hear, I can
like a
hear
timing.
Roby. I can hear Roby. I can hear, Roby was up in the booth doing the regular announcing. I can hear everyone in the, um, production trailer. It was just a lot. And then I got a camera on me and the guys like, so like it was a little bit, but once I got that first one out of the way, man, it was funny. I looked at Brandon Overton before we started, and I looked at him. I was like, "My first time doing this, man," and he laughed. I said, "No, I'm serious." And he goes, "Oh, okay." But he was cool. He was really really cool. I went and walked around in the pits a lot during the weekend and tried to like you know I talked to the drivers a lot. I don't know if that really. Do you ever have anybody come up to you and just talk to you whenever you're at the track? You're not famous enough. What am I? Who am I kidding?
I mean, I do,
Yeah. So like
but not like a
I
lot.
hate being that guy, right? I hate being the guy that
Yeah,
wants to walk up and talk, right? But
yeah.
what's cool is whenever you have on the Hunt the Front TV shirt and you got the hat or yeah, the Hunt the Front hat on and the headset, you can fucking go
Their
anywhere.
their attitude changes.
Yeah, and that too. Yeah. So I walked up to Brandon Overton, Trey Mills, Ashton Winger, all the big name guys that run with the series,
Yeah,
and I could
Trey
just
Mills
talk
is
to
a
him. I
big
want
guy.
Trey Mills is actually tall, to be honest.
He is tall.
Yeah. But it was cool to just be able to walk up and talk to these guys. You know what I mean? And I wanted to get to know them a little bit and let them get to know me because as a pit reporter, sometimes you're going to be walking up and trying to interview someone who's not in the best mood, and they are going to be more willing to talk to someone that they know, that they
Yeah,
recognize, right?
yeah.
So that was kind of my goal, and just an added side benefit was that I got to talk to these drivers that I've been watching for so long, and so it was a very very cool deal, and very very thankful for Joshua Joyner and everyone at Hunt the Front TV for inviting me to do it. It was a very cool experience, and I felt like I got better as the weekend went along. You know what I mean?
All I want to say is we've been practicing for this moment in Rocket League for months.
Yeah, yeah. We'll be playing Rocket League, and Hannah will be like, "You got to do the announcer mode." So I'll be like, "All right, we're gonna," or it'll be like,
We interview each other for like
yeah,
MVP.
yeah. I'm not gonna impersonate it, but it's funny. We practice for it. But I felt like I got better as the weekend went along. Like really, as soon as I got that first one out of the way, everything else kind of got easier and easier. Um, I don't normally get nervous, so it was a little weird to get nervous for that. But the heat race winner interviews, everything just went so smoothly. Um, and the they seem to be very pleased with how I did. Like it was cool to I have experience speaking, right? And I have experience being on a camera but it's like can you do it in real life, right? Can you do it in front of a live audience that literally the biggest crowd that Talladega short track sees ever is during Talladega race weekend. And so it was interesting that they threw me in like that and they told me I did a great job and big news is that they invited me to do the series finale at I-75. So I'll be at I-75 November. Let me see the dates. That'll be November 1st and 2nd for the Hunt the Front Super Dirt Series finale at I-75. I'll be there for that, and hopefully I can continue doing a good job
Good
with it, and
job.
maybe this might turn into something even bigger for me, and that would be really really cool. But ultimately, I just want to throw out that I super appreciate uh, the joiners everyone with Hunt the Front for giving me the opportunity. I was a nobody basically, right? Like there's plenty of people that are way more qualified than me, and they took a risk
Yeah,
by
but
putting me on
like,
camera with a microphone.
look at you. How could they say no? They had to feel bad.
Okay, fuck you. Oh shit. Moving on, moving on. Let's talk about some real life racing stuff. Want to give a quick shout out to our man Kendall Tucker, winning 3 in a row. Just this past weekend, he made it 3 in a row. The first two were with the 604 division. This last one was 602's All Ultimate RV, Ultimate Motorsports and RV Park, I believe is what it's called. He's won 3 in a row there. Big congrats to Kendall Tucker. He's finally getting the results that I think he's been
They're
deserved or been
earn.
earned. Yeah, he's reaping the benefits of the hard work, and it's paying off, and I'm happy to see it for him. You also raced this past weekend, $10,000 to win. B-Mod show at Brownstown Bull Ring. Let's give a little recap on how that thing went. That was what, a 2-day show?
2 day
Yep.
show. Friday night was the first night of racing. We qualified fourth in our group.
And there
There
was
was
4 groups, wasn't there?
four groups. Yeah,
Yeah.
4 groups. Um,
What,
which
like,
put
how many
me
cars? How many cars were there? Like
100,
100?
107.
107. That's
100.
crazy.
Um, so that put me front row outside of my heat race number 10. It was actually me and Logan Hickerson,
Was it you and
fellow I
Hickerson?
in the heat
That's
race. Yeah,
crazy. Another iRacing guy. Shout out to
another
Logan.
iRacer. Well, you'll hear the rest of this story. You'll like it. Heat race started about. We got comfortable. I was up on the wall in 1 and 2 and kind of rolling through the slick 3 and 4, just trying to keep it smooth up, kind of close to the wall, just not in the wall. Started catching him actually. He was on the bottom and then he started moving up in 1 and 2 in front of me a little bit. But he kept messing up just a little bit. He was getting tight coming out of 2. And it was lap 6 or something like that. We went back to back straight away because I got under him and I threw a slider on him and it was a beautiful slider. I'm like, there was a video of it. We were talking about it, me and him. I mean, you couldn't have thrown it any better. Like I was so proud of that thing and I stuck it.
Yeah.
And we were coming across the line and the yellow came out.
What was the yellow for? Did you ever find out?
Somebody spun out in 3 or out of 2,
Mm,
sadly. But
unfortunate.
then the race restarted and we had like
Just
4 yellows in a row. We
yeah.
had one. We'd go 1 lap yellow, 1 lap yellow, 1 lap yellow, 1 lap yellow.
What'd you
Like
text me that night?
literally,
You texted me that I asked you how it went. You said heat race. There was 6 cautions in 10 laps. I said they say iRacing isn't realistic.
it was rough. And then so we ran second, which put us in the dash, which was top 2 people from each heat
Yep.
going to the dash the next night or that night. And you started like 19th in the dash. I was just riding. I just wanted to finish the race. That was my whole intention, just to finish because the top 6 were locking in, and I knew from 19th I was gonna have to really abuse my stuff if I wanted to get up there, and I really didn't want to abuse my stuff to get up there. And I knew I was gonna have a decent starting spot, at least in a transfer spot for Saturday. So I was like, I'm just gonna ride this out, try to get a top 15 or something, so I could be on the front row of the B main tomorrow. Was riding there. I think I was in like 16th or something, and we had a restart. And I finally had a restart on the top, which sorry, excuse me. I love the top. In my real car, I feel a lot more comfortable on top
What'd you say?
in any
Excuse
car.
me.
'Cause that's not normal. I like to rip the cush.
Well, you usually like to run the bottom. You like run hot bottom. You're tired of it, I guess. Been running the bottom for so
Well,
long.
I know. But Brownstown, I love the cushion there. It's
Yeah.
just like a 1 and 2. It's really fun to hit. And I finally got up there, and restart just started. We started Delaware double file, which you should know your double file on the
Yes.
back. Leaders by himself. Go into 1 and 2 on a yellow, and I have a guy in front of me because we just restarted. I can't really go anywhere. and I have a guy below me, and this guy decides to make it 3 wide. And when the guy in the middle did not turn on exit, and he put his right front in my left side door and put me in the fence. That was fun. I hit it hard too.
Mm.
Destroyed some wheels. I hit it showed my fuel cell over actually.
I'll change the
Um,
weight distribution, the balance.
so I got to go home, fixed all that, and then Saturday started fourth, finished fourth in the B main. I made some mistakes. Just wasn't good enough. And then feature started 19th and drove up to 10th
And how many
and
laps was
was
the feature?
50.
Okay. So
And I
big
drove
50
up to
lapper.
10th in like 15 laps or so.
Yeah.
And I was rolling really good. And we had a fuel stop for some reason. I don't know why we did a fuel stop, but we did a fuel stop. And once that fuel stop happened, my car kept getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And I got slid. And a guy kind of like short slid me in a little bit.
Kind of
And so
parked it on you.
he did, which is all right, but he did. And I started racing back there, and I already knew like eighth on back paid the same, so I was like, it's not worth me destroying my stuff to keep driving. I think if I'd have stayed out there, I definitely would have went forward more. Um, it was just the car was getting really tight, and I didn't want to risk destroying the wall because I was tight,
Yeah.
and you risk bending the race car,
So
and we were too tight to run the bottom on it, and
so overall, I mean, how happy were you with the weekend? I know you had really high hopes for it, but you made the feature out of
yeah,
107 cars.
yeah.
Big show for B mods, and honestly, just for in general, 10,000 to win is a big show. Uh,
hmm
you had high expectations. You made the show. How do you feel about it afterwards?
You know, honestly, I just miss old Black a little bit, but I feel good. I mean, the goal was just make the show at least. That was my dad's goal, was just to make the thing. Then we drove. He was pretty happy with how we drove pretty early there. Just, I think it was. I think the right rear tire sealed over, honestly, on me.
Probably.
Um, but other than that, like he was pretty happy. Yes and no. I would have liked to at least finish the race.
Right.
Um, just wasn't in the cards. I think we'll be better next year. Gonna have it again. Just got to get the car a little bit better. We've been still struggling with this car, and we're working on it this week. This is its last week. If it doesn't go Saturday, it's for sale.
That was literally my next question was how do you feel about this is a pretty new car to you.
Yeah.
You talked about you miss old black. It's just for sale if it doesn't perform this weekend, huh?
There's only one more thing we can truly like. Well, there's a few more things we're trying, but there's only one more thing that we can really like attempt. Because we've tried everything on this car, genuinely that we know of. Uh, because it's a little. I mean, it's just part of racing. It's frustrating. It's just a sport. But I honestly feel like we figured it out twice in a row with with blue and old black,
Yeah.
and then we got in this thing. We won races in the GRT.
Yeah.
Um, and then we get in
Well,
old Betsy here, and
doesn't that kind of push you though? Like it's a
it
challenge.
does. It is a new challenge,
It's a
but
challenge, and then figuring it out
yeah,
is is I would imagine exciting, like once you have something that clicks and you're like, finally, this feels good, and you have something to build on. Like that's a win in itself, right?
yeah. I mean, yes and no, because you did it 3 times in a row, kind of. And
But
then you can't on this one, and you've tried everything that you almost know,
yeah.
and like you know what I'm saying. It's like if it doesn't work this weekend, then what do you say? Then how's your response?
So this weekend gonna be your last race of the season?
No,
No. What? Okay. What is this weekend's race?
it's a Bigger race. It's like 4,500 to win down in Benton, Missouri.
Okay. And then what do you have planned for after that?
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Yeah. And if it's not in this car, it's in the other car that's sitting there.
What's the other car? I don't remember what the other car is. We don't want to spoil it right now?
Begins with an E. That's all I'll say.
I don't know. I can't think of anything right now. So wow, that's interesting. So yeah, you got this elite. Is it an elite? Chat helps me out. All right. So you got plans to race this weekend. More of what's coming up for me and Kiefer this weekend or in the future. This weekend, I'm running the Truckers Tangle 40. It's going to be this Sunday. I will be live streaming it, of course. It's going to be Pro 2s. I can't remember what track. I should know what track, but I can't remember. But that's going to be. Let me just get some information on that right quick. Let's see. Where is that? Let's see. Okay, yeah, Lincoln. That's what it is. Lincoln. It's put on by Two Fat Guys Sim Racing Promotions. If you remember, they sponsored me. We're one of the many sponsors for the Spring Fling. Yeah, that'll be this Sunday at 6:45 Eastern Time for the drivers meeting, and then 15-minute practice at 7, and 2-lap qualifying. It's going to be a great show. I had fun in the last one that I did. I did one of the last ones that they did. And it was a lot of fun. So looking forward to that. And then we have the Sean Timmerman Memorial Race, October 26th. Hashtag Slide Jobs Daily, man. Can't believe it's already been over a year. I would assume it's been over a year now that Sean Timmerman passed.
Yes. Your
So
voice sounds weird. That's right.
does it? I'm sorry. But yeah, the Sean Timmerman Memorial Race, October 26th. Of course, 410 sprint cars at Eldora. Looking forward to that. I had fun in the last one, even though I didn't make the
Yep.
show. You ran well
I
in the
gotta sign
last one.
up. I gotta sign
Yeah,
up. Yeah,
I've
I
never.
ran well in the prelim, and then the main server, my Wi-Fi bugged out on me, dude.
Well, this will be good practice for us late model guys to get better in the sprint cars. But of course, obviously, it's for a good cause. Shout out to, I believe it is David Allen that puts that show on. Let me double check on that.
I believe so. I believe you're right.
I think it's David Allen. We're gonna double check on that. Yeah, David Allen. October 26th at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Got qualifying heat races, Consi, 24 car 50 lap feature. I don't know if they're doing prelims this year, but yeah. So I'll be going live for that as well. And shout out to the Timmerman family and David Allen for that. The last
And
thing,
Phase.
what?
Shout out Phase. Shout out Banks.
Oh yeah, FaZe Banks. Shout out FaZe. Yeah. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about on this episode of the Plum Wild podcast, the last thing, it's something that's coming up. It's the Lucas Oil. What do they call it? Chase for the championship, maybe. It's the final
Yeah, Chase. I
four.
think it's the Chase for championship. Yes.
Yeah, Chase for the championship. The finale is this weekend at Eldora at the Dirt Track World Championship. Final four drivers are Ricky Thornton Jr., Jonathan Davenport, Devin Moran, and Tim McCready. I don't know if it's a 2-day show or a 1-day show. I can't even remember, honestly. Probably should have gotten that, but regardless, man, it's gonna be awesome. I love Eldora. I love these big races at Eldora. You
I'm looking
got
at the points right now.
yeah. So who do we have
I don't know
there?
if. Okay, so Ricky Thornton is the leader.
Yep. He's got about a 20-point lead, 20,
50,
25.
50-point lead
Oh.
on both Jonathan Davenport and Devin Moran. They're
Are they
both
tied?
50 tied
Oh wow,
for
okay.
second.
Okay.
Tim McCready's 165 behind.
Yeah, Timmy's
So
way back there. Yeah,
T-Mac's kind of out of it, in my
he
opinion.
he is all but mathematically short of having a chance at it. But regardless, it's going to be quite the interesting event. You have Jonathan Davenport. I mean,
At
what
Eldora.
more needs to be said about Jonathan Davenport at Eldora? That Eldora car, he's so good there. Devin Moran has been really, really good. I think that this is going to be a 50 lap show. I could be wrong. Is it 50 laps?
I
Might be
believe so.
100. If it's 50
I think
laps,
the
Devin
50
Moran has
laps
looked
first night.
well. I'm talking about the actual finale, but
I think it's 100.
regardless, Devin Moran has looked really good. Dirt Tracker, Justin Fiedler at Dirt Tracker did a podcast or an episode of the Dirt Tracker about it, and it was basically Ricky Thornton Jr. needs to finish fourth if Devin Moran or Jonathan Davenport gets quick time and win the race. Sixth if they don't get quick time and win the race. So we're basically looking at a situation where can Ricky Thornton Jr. run good at Eldora?
Yes.
Do
And he
you
hasn't
think
really finished, or like he hasn't really finished a race there.
he hasn't? Well, he's finished races, but he just hasn't ran well in the
Mm-mm.
big shows. Like, um, he's he's so good everywhere, and we know Eldora is a different beast, and but it's like I don't understand it. He ran. I don't even know if he finished in the top 20 at the World 100. Like, can he get it done in order to win the championship here in the final race of the season? Jonathan Davenport's going to be on his A game. He's going to have that famous Eldora car. Devin Moran has looked really solid, and it's just about whether or not Ricky Thornton Jr. can perform. Real quick before we finish up, who do you predict wins this final race and wins the finale? Wins the
Uh,
championship?
Man, 50 points is gonna be hard to beat. Like if Ricky can just
He has to finish fourth or sixth, depending on if one of them get a quick time and win the race. That's the math of it. Can he finish fourth or better or sixth or better?
you know what? I'm gonna go with a solid pick. Might not be the right one. I'll go JD.
Okay. Oh wow. Yeah, that's a real underdog pick there. Real underdog. I guess just to be
Out of
different,
the three,
I'm gonna say Devin Moran, just because I I like Ricky Thornton Jr., but I just don't think he just hasn't figured it out yet at Eldora. Whatever that is, he just hasn't figured it out. And I think that Jonathan Davenport and Devin Moran haven't figured out. They've shown that they can win. And don't get me wrong, Ricky Thornton Jr. has won like a prelim or something, I want to say, or ran well. But we obviously don't have a lot of faith in Ricky Thornton Jr. this weekend. Yeah, so that's it. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add?
not really. I think that is all I have for you today, folks. I gotta pee.
Oh, he's got to pee. Dude, so it's sorry. It's been a long time since our last episode. That, like we said earlier, just not a lot to talk about, but we finally had some stuff to talk about, and now um, we'll be, talking more once the qualifiers and the Pro Series and everything kicks off. We'll have plenty to talk about then. Don't forget, everyone, to tune in to let's see, we've got a lot coming up. So we've got the Truckers Tangle 40. I'm going to be streaming that live this Sunday. Tune into that. You got the Sean Timmerman Memorial Race Sunday after that. Me and Kiefer we'll be live in Discord, or we'll be in Discord with each other for that, wouldn't you say, Keith?
Yeah.
All right, we'll be in Discord with each other for that. We'll be running that one. That's going to be live on Twitch as well. And then, of course, don't forget to tune in to Hunt the Front TV or come out to I-75 if you want to watch your boy do some more pit reporting whenever that happens, November 1st and 2nd at I-75. That's all I've got. If that's all Kiefer's got, that'll do it for this episode of the Plum Wild Podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in. For myself and Damian Kiefer, we'll see y'all in the next one.